The Board of Direct Entry Midwifery will now exit executive session and reconvene open session at 8:54 a.m. No final decisions were made and no votes were taken in executive session. The public has been moved back to the MS Teams board meeting room. Representatives of the media may once again report all board discussions and actions.
Okay. So we are on item number 5.
Which is the approval of the tranexamic acid frequently asked questions FAQ document.
Sammy, if you're trying to talk, you're on mute.
Okay, I'm here. I'm pulling it up. Okay, so I have looked at this document 85 ways from Sunday. So if there's mistakes, I apologize, but I don't have anybody really to review things daily. So you guys get to review it and tell me what's wrong. So the first one just says, well, the first paragraph is an intro that says that your rules became effective on May 1st, 2023. And it included adding TXA for anti-hemorrhagic to promote clotting for mothers. First question is, why is the board adding TXA? And you can see that it's because you determined that it is the benefits of using it, administering it intravenously is different than the benefits of, say, oxytocin or pitocin and those things. How main LDM use TXA? Do you want me to go through and read these, or do you guys got it and just want to make changes? You just let me know what you want.
Wendy has her hand up, Sammy.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't see this and her, so thank you.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we want to discuss one by one real quickly and just say yes or no, or
that'd be great.
Okay. Can I make a comment about one?
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. It's a little, well, okay. Number one, oxytocin should be a small o. If we're gonna, are we getting kind of that granular or no?
Sure.
Okay. So oxytocin, small o, and then I'm wondering if we want to also add the other anti-hemorrhagic meds that are a part of the Legend Drugs and Devices, just because it's a little like weird to stick one in and not acknowledge the others, because TXA works differently than all of these other meds.
I can do that.
Because I personally, I would leave out the last part of the sentence. I would just say, as an anti-hemorrhagic, has different benefits than using, and then list the other anti-hemorrhagics, and then leave the other out. I suppose maybe you put that one in because it's being used IV sometimes, and the others are not. Is that?
That's how it's listed as the rules, is like it's listed by route of administration. It says anti-hemorrhagics for use by IV administration, pitocin, and TXA.
Oh, okay, then maybe forget it. Then maybe that makes sense, and that's just something that I don't realize. Okay, then maybe that does make sense, and forget what I said.
I think it could go either way.
Yeah. No, I see. I didn't realize it was broken down in that way.
So then the second one, I don't know how pedantic that we want to be, but TXA is not a clotting promoter.
Okay.
Well, it is a clotting promoter, actually.
It doesn't promote clots. It prevents the breakdown of clots that are already formed. It's an antifibrinolytic.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, someone landed on those words. I mean,
I wonder if that would like unnecessarily scare people if they think it is going to promote clots and they're going to think it's going to be like a risk for DVT or pulmonary embolism when it isn't at all.
well,
Because
they're
that's
getting,
not.
yeah, they're going to get training. But
Well, they're only going to get training if they want to use it. Like that's another FAQ down below is if you don't plan to carry it or use it, you don't have to get the training. And so the desire to use it has to come first.
Could we,
So-
I mean, how necessary is it to have that description in there at all? Like, could we just remove that entirely and not like change it or, you know, just like, I
Yeah.
don't know that
We could remove the clotting promoter, the parenthetical in that
I'm
one.
totally fine with that.
then do it at the top as well. So that's also listed on the very first paragraph. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I agree it does sound weird, but
Yeah.
I mean, it is, in theory, it's correct.
So I'm removing all of number 2.
No, just
the
what's
words
in the
clotting promoter.
parentheses.
Okay,
Yeah, and the same in the first
in
paragraph.
the intro.
Yeah, it also says clotting promoter.
Okay.
Any comments on question and answer 3?
Is there only one approved education module around this? I guess that this,
That I could find.
so,
Well, our licensing rules allow a lot of different like routes of education and training, including self-study. So I think
but
that there's
are we, I mean, okay, can we,
we didn't put anything in the rules about the training needing to be board approved. There's just continuing education can be from these sources or approved by these organizations.
And yeah, and you didn't, for TXA specifically, you didn't say like, this is the education you have to have for this, for adding this drug. It's just they need to be educated and trained. And then it will just be consolidated with the new program once it's up and running. So if they're not going to use it, they don't have to get trained.
Are we on 3, 4, or 5?
We were kind of talking about all of them, I guess.
So I'm confused. Which one is it?
We were technically on 3. Does anyone have any further comments on 3 or 4?
4 is clunky. Just read the answer. No, if an LDM is currently licensed, are not required to obtain TXA and training. So that grammatically, that's not quite right.
Got it.
Oh yeah, they need a they.
Yep,
Yeah.
I added it.
They are not required to. Well, is not planning, right? So it's, right. If an LDM.
I do think
currently licensed LDM is not want to purchase and administer TXA, they are not required to obtain TXA education and training.
Okay, I'll just fix the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think the ands should maybe be ors, purchase or administer. Because we did like, we work with different practices. Like I went to a birth where I was an assistant and I helped administer TXA that I did not purchase.
Okay.
I mean, it could be an and or, I suppose. I do have a question about how we're talking about the continuing education in light of the way the rule is written that you can get your license before you have the initial legend drugs and devices. And so then you just need that by your first renewal and or to get the legend drugs and devices endorsement. Because like this continuing education is about the like what it's required to like ongoing renewal. And there can be LDMs that are currently licensed that are required to take different continuing education than is specified here.
I'm not sure I understand.
So the initial legend drugs and devices, the 40
What number
hours.
are you on? What number are you on?
5.
Okay.
The initial legend drugs and devices, you don't have to have that before you're licensed. You can get that in your first year to get
Right.
the endorsement. But this is just talking about the like regular renewal. And
so you
the
want
initial,
something that's okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
well, I'm not exactly sure the best way to word it, but like technically the initial legend drugs and devices is listed as continuing education and is a different amount and like it's a different requirement than this one. I just don't want this FAQ to risk overriding the other requirement for initial
The
legend.
initial requirement.
Yeah.
Okay, I can write something about the. I'll make a different question about it.
Okay.
There may have been one and I removed it because
Okay.
it started becoming the same answer over and over. I felt like, but
Sure.
this is why it's good for someone else to read it.
I think the rest of it looks good. I don't know if anyone else has comments about any of it.
Question 5 has sort of that same grammatical weirdness.
Okay.
I guess that one should maybe be 2 sentences. One more sentence. Break that long one into 2.
And then if, do you want somebody to look at these final changes, or you just want to approve it with the changes and then we'll get it out to licensees? Like I can have Kelsey, if you want, you can say in the vote, have Kelsey review the final.
Sure. So is there a motion to delegate to the chair final approval of the FAQs with the changes we've discussed today?
This is Wendy Smith, and I make a motion to approve that the changes to the TXA frequently asked questions are delegated to the chair.
This is Meredith Mance, and I second.
Thanks. A motion has been made and seconded. I'll call for a vote. Kelsey Fisher, aye. Wendy Smith,
Aye.
Christine Morales,
Aye.
Meredith Klein,
Aye.
Meredith Mance.
Aye.
Thanks. The motion passes. I believe we are now at the public and interested parties feedback portion of the agenda. Do we have any public or interested parties feedback today? Is anyone here?
Chair, members of the board, this is Bob. I thought I saw Amelia Smith come on. Her name is there. And she may or may not want to say something. So that she was the only public member I noticed. Hi, good morning, Amelia.
Hi. Yeah, it's Emilia Smith, and I don't have any public comment, but I just want to reintroduce myself. I'm the new executive director of the Oregon Midwifery Council, taking over for Silka as of September 1st. So I'll be around and you'll be hearing from me, and appreciate all of y'all's work on all these important things.
Good
Welcome,
morning.
Amelia.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amelia. Looking forward to working with you. If there's no other public and interested parties feedback, we will move into agenda item 7, which is a discussion of a settlement agreement and amended stipulated final order. In case number 15-7859.
Thank you. There he is. Good morning, Trampus.
Hello, everyone. So this one, everybody should be familiar with it, I hope. The actual settlement agreement or amended settlement agreement consent order was sent out via email to everybody early in the week. Did anyone not get that document? No? Okay. So this is kind of the conclusion, hopefully, of this situation. This is the I don't have the case number in front of me. I'm sorry, and my agenda shut.
15-7859.
Yeah. So we had been going back and forth with some of the approval of the classes for this case. This case was a case that had a final order, and in order for this midwife to become relicensed, she needed to take some classes and also have a supervisor lined up for some supervision afterwards, after she became licensed. She started that process. After a couple of meetings we had, just for some history, after a couple of meetings, we got all but one class approved, and the supervisor approved. We found that there was a significant barrier in getting the third class approved because just availability of a class. So the board voted to amend kind of go through a settlement agreement process on the original final order and basically come out the other side with an amended final order, and to modify it a bit to allow for a particular class to be taken, plus some documents to be submitted to be approved by Kelsey. So this is that document. It has been, I sent it out and spoke with the respondent in this case, and she has actually signed this agreement, and we are presenting it to the board to approve and vote to issue this as a final order, in which case then I will take it up to have Kelsey sign it, and it'll become a final order, and she'll review the last remaining piece of documents, and it will be done. So I guess what we're here today to do is if there's any discussion around this, now we can talk about the settlement agreement and the terms of the settlement agreement in public session. But if we want to talk about anything that might be confidential case information, that's why we have an executive session that's available to us to enter into if that is something that people wanted, anybody feels they need to do. But again, this is a small change that was previously approved by the board at the last board meeting. So, but if anybody wants to discuss it, or if anybody wants to make a motion to move forward with that process, I'll turn it back over.
Can you be specific about which educational requirement was changed or modified?
Yes. Let's see if I can get that. Hold up. It was specifically the requirement for, let's see here. It was specifically the requirement.
I think it was B.
Yeah, it was D. Feels like that was it. But that's,
Because the original, I believe that the original had said something about risk management, including post dates.
yes.
And the risk management courses that were submitted weren't like getting at what we felt the corrective education was trying to get at. And so this course was more about due dates and accuracy and not changing them. So that was the problem in the case. And so we changed that requirement.
Yeah, it was down on, I think it's on the bottom of page 4. B, little b, respondent is required to complete the specific Alyssa Copeland's course entitled Understanding Ultrasounds, using ultrasounds for risk assessment of pregnancy, and submit documentation that demonstrates respondent understanding of post-date management. So that was the piece that was switched.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments or thoughts? I think it's up to the board to approve this. So we'll need a motion and a vote.
Yeah, if people want to approve this, somebody can make a motion to enter into the stipulated agreement and stipulated final order.
Anyone? Are people still reading over it?
Okay, this is Meredith Mance, and I move to approve the amended final order. Is that all I need to say?
Yeah, maybe say in case number 157859.
Which of course I just moved in,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay. And then, yeah, enter into a stipulated and approve the settlement agreement, enter into a stipulated final order.
Okay, sorry, bear with me. Of course, I just like closed what I was reading. I need to pull it back up. Okay, so this is Meredith Mance, and in case 15-7859, I move to approve the amended order as the stipulated final order in this case.
And enter into the settlement agreement.
And enter into the settle agreement. Discuss.
A motion has been made. Does anyone second?
This is Christina, second.
Great. A motion has been made and seconded. I'll call for a vote. Kelsey Fisher, aye. Wendy Smith,
Aye.
Christine Morales,
Aye.
Meredith Klein,
Aye.
Meredith Mance.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone. The motion passes. We will enter into that settlement agreement and send it to me to sign.
Right?
Thank you. Okay. Looks like we're gonna move on to item 10, which is
A different executive session.
Yes.
Okay, let me find my scripts again. Do we have a time estimate on this one?
I would say, well, it could be around a half an hour, I'm guessing.
Okay, just for the public to be aware of.
Mhm.
Looks like that isn't being put into the scripts anymore, but I like to give the estimates. Are we ready for the script?
Yes.
Okay, the Board of Direct Entry Midwifery will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602F and ORS 676.595 for the purpose of considering information exempt from public disclosure at 9:22 a.m. on September 14th, 2023. Representatives of the news media shall be allowed to attend the executive sessions by MS Teams. All members of the public will now be moved into a separate MS Teams meeting room. Please continue to keep your phone muted and your cameras off. Are there any representatives of the news media on MS Teams? Recognizing there is no news media in attendance, all members of the public will now be moved into a separate MS Teams meeting room for the duration of the executive session. We will return to open session before taking any final action or making any final decisions. We are now in executive session.